6:04, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing. We're back at it, y'all. We're back at it. Time to dial it back in. For a couple weeks. Then everybody goes home for Christmas. Welcome aboard to this Monday show. We've got a busy Monday show for you. We're really all over the place. Couple of national stories to touch on this morning. Yes, we will talk about that Hunter Biden thing as much as I don't want to, but we will. Yes, we will talk about a number of Trump's people that the president-elect has tapped for top jobs, cabinet jobs. They're getting bomb threats and swatted, y'all. Paul Viollis is our go-to guy for all things law enforcement, for terrorism, for security, and the like. We're going to talk with him coming up later on this hour, and we'll get to the rest of the rundown in a little bit. But first, you know how we start off every show. It's time for Top Stories and Trending.
Number 5.
The Montrell Jackson Foundation held its 8th annual toy drive for children in the community in memory of the fallen officer. Yesterday morning, cars lined up along Greenwell Springs Road to receive free toys for their families this holiday season, courtesy of the Montrell Jackson Foundation. Officer Montrell Jackson, of course, along with 3 other first responders, was killed in an ambush attack along Airline Highway back in 2016. When he died, Jackson left behind his wife and 4-month-old son. 8 years. 8 years already. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me there is, wow, it still feels like yesterday.
Number 4.
One person's dead, another one's injured after a car crash on I-10 westbound in Essen Lane yesterday morning. This is according to BRPD. Victim is 34-year-old Catherine Tomplay. The crash happened around 10:40 a.m. I should say the person who deceased was Catherine Tomplay. Officials say, the victim was Catherine Tomplay, who was driving a Nissan, lost control of her vehicle, causing it to hit a Mercedes. After hitting the Mercedes, her vehicle rolled onto its side, where she was partially ejected. Detectives said Tomplay was not wearing her seatbelt. Driver of the Mercedes had moderate injuries. 2 other passengers were not injured at all.
Number 3.
A Livingston Parish man accused of killing a state trooper and a relative says in court papers that 2 laws being used to prosecute him are unconstitutional, according to a published report. Prosecutors could potentially seek the execution of Matthew Meir, 34 years old, if he's convicted of killing Trooper Adam Gobert and Pamela Adair during a 3-parish rampage back on October 9th of 2021. Meir allegedly also shot his neighbors before driving to Ascension Parish. After Gobert and Adair were shot, he fled into East Baton Rouge. So prosecutors last week responded to court filings that Meir's lawyer had filed a month earlier. The Advocate reported all this on Friday. That's where I'm getting it from. Meir's lawyer, Kerry Cuccia, said in October, the use of capital punishment is so erratic that its use would be, quote, akin to being struck by lightning. The state said the motion was premature because Meir has not yet been convicted of anything.
Number 2.
It is election week in Louisiana. The runoff for mayor president here in East Baton Rouge is on the ballot on Saturday. Early voting closed this past Saturday. Along with the mayor's race, there are 4 constitutional amendments on this weekend's ballot. We'll be diving in, speaking to both the candidates one more time, and hopefully lining up Stephen Procopio to help explain these 4 constitutional amendments, because I haven't a clue.
Number 1.
It was a busy holiday weekend for the Baton Rouge Fire Department. They were called out on half a dozen house fires from Thanksgiving through this morning. While there were numerous causes for the fires, fortunately, no fatalities have been reported. I just did that. What's trending?
That's what I get. I'm looking at you, and then I hit the button.
Yep.
Sorry about that. President Joe Biden has pardoned his son, Hunter, sparing the younger Biden a possible prison sentence for federal felony gun and tax convictions, and reversing his past promises not to.
So,
are we surprised?
Did you get the email I sent you? Because we're using it 650. We'll use it at 650.
Oh, yeah, that one. Okay,
yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm not surprised. And no, I'm not surprised that we've been lied to repeatedly. I mean, this has been what? The reporters have been asking Karine Jean-Pierre about this for years now. And every time she says, no, the president's not going to pardon his son, and every time the president would say he's not going to pardon his son, Of course he's gonna. It's his son. Of course
Right.
he's going to.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
he's
mean,
lying
come
to
on.
your face because it's his son. Would you pardon your son? I'd pardon my son.
Of course.
Oh, my son can do some diabolical things.
But to this level, anyway, yeah, you'd hate to imagine, right? But at the same time, you're right. It's your kid. It's your son. You
Right.
have the ability to do it.
Right.
Of course you're going to do it.
That is right.
So, yeah.
Mm.
It's just don't undermine our intelligence. You know, don't say you're not going to do it. I mean, come on.
So, but how does that work though? Like, because if you lie about it,
Yeah.
it just pushes it off until it happens. If you don't lie about it, you have to deal with this can of worms every single day.
Yes.
Am I like? Am I trying to mansplain my way out of lying? Is this how we're starting the Advent season? Put on your purple, prepare the way of the Lord, and explain your way out of lying.
Oh. Anyway. Hey, in other news, President-elect Donald Trump's stunning announcement that he will nominate Kash Patel. Is it Kosh or Cash?
Cash.
It is
It is
Cash,
Cash,
right?
yeah.
Okay. As FBI director, sets the stage for a fresh round of turbulence and debate before his term begins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard people Kosh. It was kind of like the Kamala Harris.
So, yeah, they pronounced it both ways
I
last
know.
hour. Last
It's like-
hour. I'm like, guys, America in the morning. Get it together.
Yeah.
I know we're all fresh off a holiday, but get
Right.
it together.
Oh, but yeah.
This guy's going to be a disruptor for sure.
oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. But
We're here for
add
it.
him to the pile of folks that might not get the nod from the Senate, might not get confirmed.
Time will tell.
Uh,
Time will tell.
uh.
Oh, this is devastating here. Former Harry Potter film actor Rupert Grint, a.k.a. Ron Weasley, faces a £1.8 million, which is the equivalent of $2.3 million, bill after he lost a legal battle with the tax authorities. It's sad. I mean, child actors, you
Yeah.
know, taxes.
Yeah.
Like, what taxes?
Yeah. But we're not like talking about like child actors of the 50s or 60s.
No.
At this point, if your kid is a professional actor, they should have the whole team, right? They should have the
One would
agent, the
think.
manager, the accountant, the whole.
Takes a village, right?
Yes, one would
Child
hope
actors.
you can employ a whole village.
Yeah. Yeah, this is sad. This is sad. But, I mean, we see this time and time again with taxes and celebrities or, you know, in this case, actors, you know. But
Learn how to manage your money.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're at 6:12 already at Talk 107.3 FM. All right, we got a break here. So LSU looked good Saturday night. We'll talk about that actually in our not the next segment, but the one after. When we come back from the break, all the rest of the sports right there. Bayou Classic, the Saints. Oh, Saints were just heartbreakers yesterday. And then LSU women's basketball, big night for Kim Mulkey. All that's coming up next.
all right, let's see what we got here.
Okay. Eric is saying he can't comment on the Facebook Live this morning.
Weird. Looks like Renee's already there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, we haven't blocked anybody or anything, right?
No.
Okay.
All are welcome to the chat. Even if you disagree
Well,
with
and
the
I
show,
still
you're
need to
welcome.
figure out how to. So, the previous hosts of this show, which was 6 years ago, they blocked the guy named Paul. Okay, Paul said something cranky to them, and it wasn't the most complimentary thing, but also it wasn't worth blocking somebody for. And they blocked him. They were just in the mood to block everybody. And I can't figure out how to unblock the damn guy.
Oh. Is it in the fate? It's, huh. I might have to take a look at that. Yeah, I could look into it. I could see about getting them out of the penalty box.
If you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I'll look into it.
616 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. All right, sports time here. And on Mondays during football season, it rolls through 2 segments because there's often so much to cover. Let's go ahead and start on Saturday in the Superdome. I tried to tell Congressman Carter, I tried to tell him, Southern was going to roll. Southern was going to roll in the Bayou Classic down in the Caesars Superdome, 51st annual Bayou Classic. And you know what happened? Southern rolled in the Bayou Classic. Oh, by the way, oh man, so I saw video floating all over TikTok. Not only did they roll in the game, 24-14 your final score there for Southern. It was Jalen Woods threw for 188. It was 9 of 17 for 188. As a team, they rushed for 210 yards, led by Kendrick Grimes with 12 carries for 110. Not only did they roll in the game, but how about the human jukebox taking over halftime as well? And how about bringing the house down by having Boosie? The halftime. And I you know what? In all honesty, I should have sent this to you. Because I video after video after video. He did Wipe Me Down. He did Independent. He did. Why am I forgetting the? Yeah, like his best song ever. You want to talk? You want to run? Oh. I'm brain farting on a Monday morning. Anyway, 24-14, your final score there. I'll remember it as soon as I stop thinking about it. All right, fine. Moving over to LSU women's basketball, Coach Kim Mulkey put up her 100th win as LSU's head coach on Sunday against North Carolina Central. This was not close. Number 7 Tigers beat the Eagles 131-44. That's not anywhere near close. 131-44. Tigers moved to 9-0 on the season. Mulkey is the fastest LSU basketball coach, men's or women's, to reach that 100-win mark. The Tigers are showing just amazing. 131-44. You can't get a whole lot of takeaways from that, right? What you can take from it, though, is that different players are showing highlight reel stuff. Yes, you already know you're going to get a lot out of Flaugier. You know what you're going to get out of Anissa Morrow. Samaya Smith was good for another 13 points yesterday. Morrow was a double-double, 17 and 11 points and rebounds. And Flaugier was good for 22. What you didn't know you were going to get yesterday was 10 points out of Jada Richard, 10 points out of Miracle Shepard, and Jersey Wolfenbarger is continuing to impress as well. So Tigers roll on. We got 1 minute till break. Is that enough time for me to talk about the Saints real quick? Are we being able to fit that in? Did you get the cuts? Okay, good. Man, heartbreaker for the Saints yesterday. They fall to 4-8 overall. They lose 21-14 to the Rams. New Orleans missed a chance to win or get a tie in the fourth quarter as they had a 4th down play that came up short at the Rams' 10-yard line. Coach Darren Rizzi says they know they need to be better in tight games.
I think overall we're 1-4 in one-score games, and if you're going to make the postseason in this league and be successful and win your division, all those things, the bottom line is you got to win one-score games. So that's just the bottom line. And so I think the mood in the locker room is guys are still confident in what we're doing, but again, are disappointed that we lost, and they should be.
Taysom Hill got hurt. They win that game yesterday if Taysom Hill doesn't get hurt. That's where I'm at on that one, because the 4th down play would have been completely different otherwise. So we'll learn more about the extent of Taysom Hill's injury probably today. Here comes the Fox Business Report. Set it off. Set it off. That's the name of the damn song.
I was looking up like top 5 Boosie songs.
Damn it. Okay, Eric, that's a weird spot to be in, man. So I'm seeing him in there. Debbie, it's not the border. The border takes up the same amount of screen as it did before. Rams halftime adjustments were real and made the difference. Well, yeah, because the Saints shut them out 6-0 in the first half. I don't know what Kyron Williams did differently in the second half other than win, It was a lot of the same plays. It was just hitting holes harder. I don't know if Christy's in yet this morning. Good morning, Christy. Welcome in, boo. Oh. If I'm sluggish this morning, it's because over the Thanksgiving holiday, I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with my wife. And you know how we'll do tequila and Blue Bloods on a Friday night?
Yeah, you told me about it.
So we had a couple tequilas last night watching Modern Family.
All right.
So
Oh, man.
okay, do you have all 5 of those highlights?
Got 'em.
They're not going to be played in order.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
It's going to go 1.1, 2.4, 3.1, 2.5, 4.2.
Okay.
If I remember that.
No problem. Yeah, it should be good.
Set it off. I like John. I told you the second I was stopped thinking about it, I would remember it. And it's you heard me. The second we got to the Fox Business Report, I'm like, set it off. That was the Boosie song that wrapped up the Human Jukebox set. Anywho, let's get to the traffic here. I believe school's back in today, so expect a little added volume as the morning wears on. That volume is not out there yet, though. We have our normal volume on 12 westbound coming in on Denham Springs at the Range Avenue on-ramp. You're going to tap the brakes just a little bit as you get on the interstate. You know how that works. Volume picks back up again around the Essen Lane exit, actually. Or I should say the Essen on-ramp. You're going to see not delays, but just volume. I-10 westbound, we're looking great to start off the morning. 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish, also good. And I can tell you 110's looking great as well. On our surface streets, there are no accidents to report. So a great start to your Monday morning from the Shawbill Star Traffic Center. .625 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're going to dive into LSU's final game of the regular season was Saturday, and boy, did they look good against Oklahoma. First time playing Oklahoma in Tiger Stadium. First time playing Oklahoma as a member of the Southeastern Conference. First time in recent memory playing Oklahoma without a national championship on the line. The last game was, of course, the semifinal in 2019, and then before that, the 2003 national championship game. So Tigers look good, to be sure. The game didn't start out well, I shouldn't say it didn't start out great because they traded punts on the first 2 possessions. And then LSU, once they just started to take control, things look really, really good. That first touchdown by LSU, as a Tiger fan, I just feel more secure when you're connecting with Kyron Lacey early, and that is what Garrett Nussmeier did.
They'll send Lacey in motion left to right, 3 wide to the right side. Here's the snap. Nussmeier looking left, forced out of the pocket, throws. Wide open Lacey at the 17, far side. Gets out the side, the numbers, 10-5. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers. 18-yard touchdown. Nussmeier to Kyron Lacey. And the Tigers score first, 6-0 with 7:09 to play. Lacey on the year with his 9th receiving touchdown. Nussmeier dials up his 24th of the year. And Damian Ramos on trying to add one more.
Which he would. So Nussmeier, 22 of 31 on the night, 277 yards. There was a bit of a scare in the second quarter when Nussmeier went down and went down hard. I mean, he got sacked hard. Really want to know everything that happened to his shoulder and how he woke up Sunday morning. Probably even worse this morning than yesterday morning. Now, Nussmeier goes into the tent. He's in the tent for a while. A.J. Swan has to come in. Nussmeier has to go back up the tunnel, back into the locker room and whatnot. Now, as he comes back out to get on the field, he actually got a breather for another series because LSU got to skip an offensive series because for, I don't know, what, only the third or fourth time in Tiger Stadium in recent memory that you had a kickoff return for a touchdown. And boy, was it magnificent.
Aaron Anderson again back deep. Xavier Thomas with a tough shot to the head, still unable to go for the Tigers. As Gordy told us, they'll reevaluate as the game goes on, and kick going to be fielded by Anderson right at the goal line, near side. Cuts to the middle of the field. Anderson with room across the 25-30. He's across midfield, far sideline. Couple of blockers leading the way. Anderson, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers. 99 yards for Aaron Anderson. And the Tigers regain the lead, 16-14 over the Sooners. Hey now.
Now, okay, you heard Chris Blair on the call there for the LSU Sports Radio Network, said 99 yards. Officially, it was 100 because his back foot was on the goal line. So the official count started with the back foot, I assume. Nussmeier would get back in, and you had a question. You get sacked that hard on your throwing shoulder. You got to hold your arm up against your body because your throwing arm up against your body because of the pain and whatnot. Would he be able to reconnect? Would he be able to open things up? Well, he showed us early in the third quarter, actually towards the end of the second quarter and then again in the third quarter, that yes, absolutely he could.
Nussmeier will send Hilton and Anderson to the right. Lacey, lone receiver, to the left. Snap in the hands of Nussmeier, looking to unload. Fires it deep down the field, looking for Hilton. Diving catch in the end zone. He's got it! Touchdown, Fighting Tigers! 45-yard strike, second one tonight. Nussmeier to Chris Hilton, and the Tigers extend the lead 30-17. Peeling the top of this Oklahoma defense for the second time tonight. Point after upcoming with 6:48 remaining here in the third quarter.
Peeling the top off the Oklahoma defense. Peeling the top off of defenses is what's been missing down the stretch, to be sure. I tell you what, John, I want you to save those other cuts because we're going to do a piece later on in the week about what's to come for LSU. We're not going to get to that right now, though. Right now, got to take 60 seconds to tell you what the folks over at Parrish Construction and Roofing, parrishbuilt.com is the website, parrishbuilt.com. Look, now that we're clear of hurricane season and you don't have to worry about name storm deductibles or anything like that anytime soon, hop on parrishbuilt.com, fill out the little form on their homepage, get them out, get them up on your roof. This is what I did, okay? I got them out, I got them up on my roof, and learned that I not only needed repairs, I needed a full roof replacement. Now, Parrish likes to say, do business with someone you know. What I love about that little catchphrase is that it means so much. There's depth to it. Do business with someone you know means do business with someone you call. Do business with someone who's going to help you along the way for the best shingles that's there for your roof. Do business with someone who is going to help you through the insurance adjustment process all the way through until they're done, packed up, and out of there. 364-1007 or parrishbuilt.com. Do business, do like I did. Do business with someone you know at Parrish Construction and Roofing. Yeah. Boop. Boo-doop.
I don't know if you realize, but that's what I played. That's the bumper in.
Yeah.
Okay. Studio. Hello. Hello, studio.
Is that Paul?
I got nothing. I don't hear anything.
Hang up. There he is.
Studio. Hi, yes, sir. Yeah, this is John, his producer. Yes, sir. I'm doing well. Yeah, we'll have you up here in just a few minutes. All right. Thank you, sir. All right.
Yeah, the whole point of those last two was about this is not really while we're going to lose Lacey and some offensive linemen and probably lose Nuss. I don't know. Nuss might come back, but
Right.
Weeks, McKinley, we got youth on this team too. So I think it'd be worth doing a segment later on in the week when things kind of slow up sports wise.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Byron says, I'm stunned about the part, and I'm starting to think that maybe I've been lied to by other politicians.
You think?
Exactly. Galen, we've had some friends over for Thanksgiving, and they never had rice and gravy. Shocking.
Oh, it always feels like this is the longest break ever.
Always.
Well, because I tell my guests 6:35, and then it ends up being like 6:38.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say.
I need to say 6:40 and round it down. Just hate leaving people on hold like that. By the way, I did good. I only gained 3 pounds over the whole weekend.
That's it?
That's it. When you consider like that's no workouts over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
So shut down. I wasn't at the gym on Thursday or Friday, obviously, but like, between Thanksgiving and then working LSU Friday and Saturday.
Yeah. Pretty good.
And then we'd like to do, like, as a family after church, we like to do donuts. So,
yeah.
I mean, like, actually eating donuts, not driving in circles in a parking lot.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
More calories
Look,
in our
man.
way. So stupid. Seasonably appropriate to start off the week. Are we going to keep it chilly? Here's Emma Kate Cowan. We like to do donuts as a family. .637 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So the headline heading into the Thanksgiving weekend was several Trump picks for top jobs targeted with bomb and swatting threats. Well, whenever we have a question that involves law enforcement or security in any way, we call on our expert in that field. That would be Mr. Paul Viollis. He joins us now. Paul, how are you, man?
Hey, good morning, Brian. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I trust it was a restful holiday weekend.
It was busy, but it's always good. Good to hear your voice again.
Likewise. All right, let's start off with the biggest question about these bomb threats and swatting threats. Are these Trump appointees or the people Trump has named, are they in any real danger right now?
Oh, most certainly. I would surmise, Brian, by using three words: to be expected.
Yeah.
None of those headlines were shocking whatsoever, and they were definitely expected.
So, with that in mind, there's no setup security-wise for this. It's not like they get Secret Service protection.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. And what we need to understand is that, look, at the end of the day, division begets disdain, disdain begets violence. It's just the way that we work. This is the core of what's referred to as socio-political violence. And the five main characteristics of that, as we study that, are government policies, leadership, change, foreign trade, tax policy. Check, 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 check. These are things that we expected going into this thing, regardless of who was going to occupy the Oval. And it just happens to be Trump, and it happens to be anti-Trump rhetoric. So this is just the beginning of this, Brian. You and I are going to be talking about this with great frequency over the months to come, no question.
Okay, now my next question kind of sets up for the question after that, is that
Nice.
who is in charge of the investigating these threats and enforcing if they find, who's in charge of investigating these threats and enforcing the law when it comes to they find the wrongdoers?
Well, that's a great question, especially when you ask that question today, because the jury's out on that one. We're looking at historically, right, for our listeners. Historically, we should be looking at, based on the threats themselves, it should be FBI, depending on where it came from. It could be the Department of Homeland Security, DOI, Department of Investigation. It could be the Treasury Department, depending on where it came from and who initiated it and who is it pointing to, because if it's Treasury, it's going to come to Treasury if, in fact, that's going to, the president, the vice president, somebody they're responsible for on a detail. Could even be, let's say, for example, if this were being pointed at Marco Rubio because he's going to be, or if he's confirmed Secretary of State, he would get Secret Service protection. So it really just depends on which agency. But being that we all know that to say that's in flux as far as leadership goes is an understatement. That's a great question, Brian, as to who's going to investigate it today.
Well, yes, because my first thought was this would land on the FBI's desk, right? But now you're looking at Donald Trump naming someone to oust Christopher Wray and put in his own guy as the head of the FBI. How does that continue to muddy the waters?
Well, at the end of the day, whether someone likes or doesn't like Wray, he's still going to do his job. And I wouldn't think in any way, shape, or form that he would pull back and not investigate something because it's, anticipated he's going to lose his job. I'm sure he'll do his job to the last minute. The bigger overarching issue is who's going to have jurisdiction over these, and where's the information coming from? Is it coming from an electronic source? Has it come from a phone call? Did it come via 911? Were they letters? Did it come from social media? A lot of that has to do with what agency is going to get jurisdiction and where the fingers are going to get pointed at. So being that we really don't know a whole lot at this point, and that the new administration hasn't released more specific information other than some names, which aren't surprising at all, then, we really don't know which agency is going to get the ball to run forward.
Are we seeing this at a greater pace than in previous turnovers of administrations?
Yes, and that's another good question, Brian. I think that's going to continue as we get closer and closer to the inauguration, and as we start to kind of come through Senate confirmation hearings. Remember, whether you like, the president-elect, whether you don't like him, regardless, leave that to the side. Some of the picks are highly controversial at a time when we're extremely divided and we're disdain-filled. So when you start pouring gasoline on that, then you can only expect the fire to kind of raise up a little bit, which is exactly what we're seeing. And we're going to see it with greater frequency.
Between the bomb threats and swatting threats, let's break these down separately because
right.
Swatting is a whole different beast that has I hate to put it this way, but it's really grown in popularity lately.
It has, and it's a very dangerous crime, and I'll tell you why. When you look at the way law enforcement is trained and selected, there's a science and an art to who is selected, the men and women selected to go in tactical units, whether they be street crimes, whether they be SWAT, whether they be tactical units. It really doesn't matter. All of them have very unique skill sets. One common denominator is that when you start, perpetrating the act of swatting or pretending that there's an incident requiring a SWAT type of response, everyone is at risk. The person in the house who's armed sees people come in and starts firing. The people that are coming in on law enforcement, they have a very clear methodology as to how to gain access and to clear a building. Office of safety being primary. So when you start pretending and you start calling in these fake SWAT responses, everybody's life is in danger. I mean, that's as serious as it gets.
No, it's why it's our guest is Paul Viollis. We're talking about the bomb threats and the swatting threats against President-elect Trump nominees. Sorry, I'm still mushmouth this morning. I'm not clocked back in for the Thanksgiving holiday yet. We're talking about the ongoing threats and the increase in frequency of them. So, Paul, I want to ask you about when it comes to the swatting threat. Is this treated the same way as it would any other terroristic call, like a bomb threat?
Well, it's again, not really. And the reason why is because when the call is coming in, it's coming into a 911 center.
Right.
And, our 911 operators don't get nearly as much credit as they deserve because they're phenomenal. And, they'll take in that information. And I'll give you an example. There's a woman that's being held at gunpoint by her drunk ex-boyfriend, and that's going to require a SWAT response, right? You've got a potentially barricaded suspect. You've got a scenario that's going to require special tactical access. You may even require a hostage negotiator. So you've got multiple units that are going to roll to that environment, to that one resident. Now, with that being said, and when that's false, as I said earlier, you're creating a scenario that puts everybody's lives in danger, different than a terroristic threat where you're saying that there's an ordinance. If there's an ordinance, it's going to bring in a different type of law enforcement response. Depending on who the target is, will require whether it's federal and state to coordinate at that time. And you can't either one, Brian. You have to take 100% seriously. So you're going to roll federal and state and local resources, and they're going to be ready for whatever type of force is going to be necessary or whatever type of tactical action is going to be necessary. All of that puts everybody at risk.
Is there a way to preemptively, like, kind of have, I don't want to say you dial down the level of urgency, but knowing who these nominees are, knowing what their addresses are, is there any way that 911 operators can say, look, we got this call, let me tell you whose house this is first?
Normally, they can do that. Of course, they can do that. And that information is going to come up, and if it's a building, give you an example. If it's a building to one of these political officials, then oftentimes law enforcement is going to have the blueprints uploaded into their laptop in their vehicle, so that they have more preemptive knowledge before they arrive on scene. If it's a residence, obviously they're not going to have that, but they clearly will know where they're going and who they're going to before they get there.
We're talking with Paul Viollis, the head of Viollis Group International. We lean on Paul every time there's law enforcement or security issues out there. Paul, likelihood that these get investigated thoroughly and any of them at all result in some kind of punishment?
Slim to none that anyone's going to be connected to this unless they were sloppy enough to leave breadcrumbs. Most of this, I would think, Brian, and I don't like to speculate. I'm a facts guy, but if I was looking at this at 30,000 feet, I would have to assume, at least after my 43 years, that the majority of this information was brought forth via social media. If they're going to leave a breadcrumb, if they're going to place a phone call, I doubt that phone number is going to be traced to anybody. It'd be a burner. And most of the time, this is going to come in through some kind of Gmail account. So you're not really going to be able to trace it. If they do and the people are sloppy, then, of course, it's going to be treated as, in many cases, a first-degree felony. But it's unlikely that they're going to be able to forensically link this and find a nexus to the instigator.
Last one before we get you out of here, and that's the follow-up to that one, which is, if it's unlikely, if the odds of getting caught and or prosecuted are so low, how is that not just encouragement for those that would want to do this to do it more?
And they will. And that goes back to the genesis of our conversation today, Brian, is that this will happen with greater frequency. The manner in which that we fail to police social media because of the compulsion that our society wants to have this kind of alleged right to privacy, because we're not policing it and we can't see it preemptively, so when we're responding to it, then we simply just don't have the information we need to provide the blanket of protection that's required.
He is Paul Viollis. Yeah, you know what? You said we're going to be talking regularly through inauguration, and I'm sure we will. Let's hope it's at a minimum at best, though. Paul,
Yes,
always appreciate the time, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian. Enjoy your day.
You do the same. He is with Viollis Group International. I love how I got started with him. So we used to be a CBS affiliate, and he was their top law enforcement security terrorism guy, right? Well, he ended up leaving CBS to go do his own thing with his own, like, check out Viollis.com, okay? 2 L's, Viollis.com. And when he left CBS, he shot me an email saying, hey, I'm kind of doing my own thing now if you want to still have me on. I'm like, well, yeah, you got 40-plus years in the business. You kind of know what you're talking about. So he's been a fantastic resource and will continue to be as such. We're coming up on 650 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We got to check your money now. We're going to check traffic when we come back. Okay. President Joe Biden has pardoned his son. Let's get it out. Let's get it over with. It's coming up next. Right now it's 650. My favorite, though, is like we're just here in piddly little old Baton Rouge, and he is international. Yeah. And like Viollis Group International, I don't think there's a company in Baton Rouge that can afford his services. He gains nothing out of coming on this show, except he takes the audio and he'll post it back through, hey, here's me commenting on this, here's me commenting on this. So like it's content marketing for him, right? Yeah. It's here's why I'm an expert. Yeah. But on one like this, like sometimes his people will say, hey, this, and this are possible topics this week. I hit him up. So the follow-up email from his office is going to be out to their mailing list for him to make media hits in New York and L.A. and everywhere else. And it's like, hey, we want to talk about bomb threats and swatting threats. So, like, that was cool because that was on, like, I don't know if that was on his radar before heading into a holiday weekend,
Right, yeah.
What I did not get into on the air was why he left CBS. They had some, you know how he said, I report facts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they didn't like some of the facts he was reporting. Did not jive
So they
with.
wanted him to kind of tone it
It
down
was
a
over
little
some
bit.
border stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, and he had hard numbers, and it was like that was
The kind of guy he is. He's like, no, I'm not going to stand for that.
yeah. It was like, no, I'm going to report what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, every day this week, guys, every day this week, we're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to Zoo Lights and the Mannheim Steamroller Cinnamon Hot Chocolate. All you got to do is share this Facebook Live. Just share the Facebook Live and your name is entered. I will tell you this, though. If you're not already following Talk 107.3 FM and you share it, your name doesn't come up in the list. I don't know why. It's a Facebook thing. That's not our thing. So many comments that I want to follow up on. Oh, my goodness gracious. Y'all are killing it this morning. School zone hours weren't not in effect. That only happens over Christmas and summertime. When school's out for a day or two,
Yeah.
they still. Oh, hell. We're not going to have time for the tax code stuff.
Okay.
I can
That's
see that
fine.
right now.
So we'll just do the cut,
Yeah.
X cut.
the instrumental.
Let me tell you something. The reason why I do instrumental is
Because you know I'm going to
sometimes
sing.
I like to.
You know I'm going to sing along if not.
Well, of
and then
course.
Baton Rouge doesn't need that.
And the thing is, it serves as a nice music bed.
Yeah.
You want to speak on top of it. You're
Well,
not speaking
I
over
can
the
speak
lyrics.
on top of Mark Morrison.
I believe it.
I don't know how this song survived as like one of the best R&B songs of the 90s.
So good. Kind of forgot about it.
No,
You mentioned it
never.
last week, and I was like,
You know-
whoa,
you know
when's
where
the
it's
last time I
super
heard
hot?
that?
It's super hot on TikTok.
Oh,
It
okay.
is. Yeah.
You realize all these songs are coming back,
Yeah.
making this
The
resurgence.
90s.
Yeah.
It's the every
Great
20 years thing, man. It
Yeah.
is like it's history repeat itself.
Oh, yeah.
Music, like, you know what else is hot right now?
What's that?
Disco.
Disco.
Listen to anything Dua Lipa does.
I was literally took the words out of my mouth.
Everything
I was
Dua
like,
Lipa does
Dua
is
Lipa
disco.
is killing it.
And Bruno Mars is crushing remaking 70s R&B in a
Yeah.
new style.
Absolutely.
Tell me,
Introducing it to an entire new generation.
I know.
And then they're digging. Of course, they're
doing
going to
it well.
dig, and they're
Yeah.
going to go back. And yeah. Oh, so good.
Speaking of history repeating itself, President Joe Biden has announced he is going to pardon he is pardoning his son Hunter for his crimes. Not going to bore you with all the details of this. I do, however, want to play back a little bit of video here. The president, or I should say, Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary, has been asked repeatedly, if Biden was going to pardon his son. And repeatedly, she hasn't skirted the conversation. She hasn't given you a word salad. She hasn't kind of tried to coach speak her way through it. She has said straight up, no. Can't be more clear. No. In fact, let's go ahead and hear it in her words.
But from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well, is there,
I just said no. I just answered.
The president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
His son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
President Biden says that he's not going to pardon his son, Hunter. Is he going to ask Donald Trump to do that?
I don't have anything else to share about that. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on this. I've been very clear. The president's been very clear when we've been asked this question.
So this leaves us in an interesting spot now. And that was done on loop. So this leaves us in an interesting spot now. And interestingly enough, it comes to us from CNN. The headline reads, Biden's pardon of his son pours fuel on Trump's claims of politicized justice. Y'all, here we are on December 2nd, and it's CNN asking the question about politicized justice, about the weaponization of the Justice Department. Oh, it's going to be a rough couple months. But we're here for it. ABC News coming your way. Hour 2's next. Bruh.
What's that?
Patrick Reynolds making fun of my Orleanian heritage. Me
Why?
being a Yat. I said it's on
Oh.
repeat. Repeat. As they say up here, repeat.
Is this Medical Monday pre-recorded?
No, he should be calling in live.
I'm just
Dr.
not used to
Brad Culotta. Okay, I got a lot to get to here. Talk topic for, well, you know what? We'll let the presidential pardon thing kind of bubble for a little while longer. But I do want to get to this question. Why are we still doing Cyber Monday? It's Cyber Day every day. Like,
Old habits die hard.
no, I know, but like,
You
it
know?
should be brick and
Back
mortar
to front.
something.
Oh, yeah.
Like Black Friday, like,
something. I don't know.
Well, local Saturday happens after Black Friday, right? But like, it's Cyber Day every day.
Of course, you already knew that was going to be one of my national days. But let's talk about that if we have time.
Yeah. Debbie says, I can't wait to hear KJP explain this. You know, if I was her, I'd just step to the podium and say, guys, F it. What do you want from me? When I get my marching orders, I come out here. I got a month and a half to go on this job. I don't give a shit. Peter Ducey? Yeah, right here, Ponda. I would have so much respect for her if she did that. Like, you don't act like you didn't know what this was. This is the same thing it's been for going on since the daily briefing started getting televised. That's how long this has been a thing. There's my pencil. Let me sharpen this. .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. A busy second hour for you this hour. We've got Medical Monday coming up in about 10 minutes from right now. Dr. Brad Culotta is going to be talking with us about Go Hero, among other things. GEAUX. Go Hero, among other things. And also this hour, Will Green, President and CEO of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, is going to be on with us as the special session on tax reform wrapped up over a week ago. It's time to start talking about, and we talked with Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple about this last week. Insurance needs to be next. It needs to be back on the front burner next. We did a lot on the property front in the previous session. But if you're a business owner, you've got a fleet of vehicles, insurance can still be backbreaking. So we'll talk with Will Green about that coming up at 7:35. Right now, top stories and trending. Let's go.
Number 5.
Got pushed down in the stack here. Hang on. There it is. One person is dead. One is injured after a car crash on I-10 West at Essen Lane yesterday morning. According to BRPD, the victim who died, 34-year-old Catherine Tomplay. Crash happened around 10:40 a.m. Officials say Tomplay was driving a Nissan, lost control of the vehicle, causing it to hit a Mercedes. After hitting the Mercedes, her vehicle rolled onto its side. She was partially ejected. Detectives say Tomplay was not wearing her seatbelt at the time, and as a result of that, did die from her injuries. The driver of the Mercedes was injured. 2 other passengers in the Mercedes were not injured.
Number 4.
A Livingston Parish man accused of killing a state trooper and a relative said in court papers that 2 laws being used to prosecute him are unconstitutional. This, according to a published report. Prosecutors could potentially seek the execution of 34-year-old Matthew Meir if he's convicted of killing Trooper Adam Gobert and Pamela Adair during a 3-parish rampage back on October 9th of 2021. Meir also allegedly also shot his neighbors before driving to Ascension Parish. After Gobert and Adair were shot, he fled the East Baton Rouge Parish. Prosecutors last week, and I'm getting all this from the Advocate, prosecutors last week responded to court filings that Meir's lawyer had filed a month earlier. Meir's lawyer, Carrie Cucci, said back in October, the use of capital punishment is so erratic that its use would be, quote, akin to being struck by lightning. Conversely, the state said the motion was premature because Meir has not yet been convicted of anything.
Number 3.
Police are trying to identify a man who burglarized a washing machine at a Florida Boulevard apartment complex I should say now it's 2 months ago. This was back in October. Our news partners at WBRZ have shared the photos. The photos of the burglar were shared on Sunday. Police said the crime happened back on October 7th at the River Pines Apartments. Investigators said the man also burglarized a mailbox and a vending machine as well. Anyone with information, if you check out the pictures at WBRZ.com, anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 344-STOP.
Number 2.
It is election week here in Louisiana in EBR. That means the runoff for mayor president. That'll be on the ballot Saturday. Early voting closed this past Saturday. Along with the mayor's race, there are 4 constitutional amendments on this week's ballot. So mapping out the show for the week, my aim is to get both mayoral candidates back on at least one more time and to have Stephen Procopio from PAR hop on board as well to explain those 4 constitutional amendments.
Number 1.
It was a busy holiday weekend for the Baton Rouge Fire Department. They were called out to over half a dozen house fires from Thanksgiving through this morning. All numerous causes for the fires, different levels of damage. Although, every year when it starts getting cold out there, the number of calls to the fire department goes up, either for space heaters or, other different causes. Fortunately, there were no fatalities. What's trending, John?
Well, not a surprise to anyone here. President Joe Biden has pardoned his son Hunter, sparing the younger Biden a possible prison sentence for federal felony, gun, and tax convictions, and reversing his past promises not to.
So we played that little audio montage of Karine Jean-Pierre BSing the world, which I want to go back. There's a comment in the Facebook chat. Byron says, I know it sounds ridiculously naive, and maybe I grew up watching too many Westerns, but I've always believed a man's word should mean something. I don't think I could lie to the whole world, even if it was my kid. Enabling bad behavior is not helpful to your kids. So I'm with him on the one front about lying to the world and you're enabling the bad behavior. But on the other side, man, I can't put myself in his shoes to walk a mile here. Because if this was your kid, would you do it? Would you pardon your kid? I mean, when the stakes are this high.
It's a tough call, but I think our answer would be yes.
I think so.
Yeah. But it's hard. Like you said, it's hard. It's hard to put ourselves in those shoes, when considering everything involved with Hunter Biden, you would.
By the way, today's press briefing in the White House should get killer ratings.
Oh,
I mean,
of course.
How many people are going to be dialed in to see Karine Jean-Pierre dig herself out of this hole? Debbie said it on Facebook Live. I can't wait to hear KJP explain this. I said, there is no explaining it. How great would it be if she just stepped to the mic and was completely honest? Like Michael Douglas and Falling Down honest. Like, you know what? Y'all knew what this was. Like, did you really think for a second I was telling you the truth any of those times? And then the follow-up question is, well, what else are you lying about? To which she should say, roll the dice, buddy. I'm out of here in a month.
Yeah.
I have no more bleeps to give.
That would take a lot, but I don't know.
Look, she has to stand there and lie to the American public, lie to the world every single day.
Right.
I don't envy her job. But she signed up for the gig. So
of course. It comes with the territory. That's what it is. In other news, President-elect Donald Trump's stunning announcement that he will nominate Kash Patel as FBI director sets the stage for a fresh round of turbulence and debate before his term begins.
You know, the interesting part about this is Christopher Wray, the guy he wants to throw out, was his nominee to begin with. Joe Biden didn't get his own guy. An FBI director, I believe, has a 10-year term once they're named director. So it transfers over from president to president. You don't follow the president. It's not like it's not like he's the president's guy. But he nominated Wray in the first place. So curious.
Very, very much so. Hey, in other news, former Harry Potter. Now I'm doing it.
No,
now I'm doing
know.
it. What is going on?
It's my fault. It is my fault.
Former
I did it last
Harry
hour.
Potter.
My
Harry Potter.
Yeah, my community coffee had not yet kicked in. By the way, the super dark roast or whatever they're
I
calling
am
this.
so envious of you because I didn't get a cup this morning.
No.
I didn't even get a cup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going. I'm gonna get it next break.
Wait till we're in the Medical Monday.
Yeah. Former Harry Potter film actor Rupert Grint, a.k.a. Ron Weasley, faces a £1.8 million, which is the equivalent of $2.3 million. It's a bill after he lost a legal battle with the tax authorities. Not just child actors here. We talked about this the last hour. Just any celebrity, you know, just you have to consider there are taxes to be paid, you know.
No, I know,
we
but
fall
it
into
just
this all the time.
because it's not the kid's fault. But he's a grown-ass man now.
Right.
Like
now he is, yeah. When
well,
he was
yeah,
making that Harry Potter money, you know.
I wonder how old he was for the last Harry Potter.
That's a good question.
Because take how old he was for the last Harry Potter, and at that time, go ahead, take your entire paycheck and cut that over, and I bet you he'd be in the clear. We don't have time to look that up now. I'm just in general. Because we have spare time. We got Medical Monday coming up next.
No, I know. Yeah, we got this.
Speaking of which, it is 7:12 at Talk 107.3 FM. Quick break. Our Lady of the Lake, Medical Monday, next.
Okay, so he was 19, between 19 and...
Do what?
He was around 19 or 20, they're saying. Around the last...
He's a grown-up.
Yeah.
Grown-up.
Studio. Hello, doing well, sir. Yeah, we'll have you on here in just about 2 minutes or so. All right, thank you, sir. You want to bump then Medical Monday? Or you want to just go...
Just the Medical Monday bump.
Okay. I just always want to confirm that.
Yeah, no, I don't want to waste time here because this is going to cover a lot of ground.
Gotcha. What were we about to say? I'm sorry.
Nothing. So before we get into the actual topic, I got a personal story here.
For this?
For this doctor.
Okay.
Yes, it is time for Medical Monday, and this week we're talking pediatric trauma. I want to welcome in Dr. Brad Culotta to the show. Dr. Culotta, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, guys. How are you guys? Doing well here.
We're doing very well as well. So we got to dial back the clock here before we get into our topic this morning, and that is, man, I need to do the math real quick in my head. 8 years ago, My oldest daughter tripped, fell, broke her arm, and you were the one that patched her up, put the pretty pink cast on her.
You know, we're both growing up, aren't we?
She goes to college next year,
gosh.
so.
Golly. Well,
Yeah.
I hope she's doing well. Give her a hug for me, Brian.
Absolutely will do. And unfortunately, what we're talking about today is a lot heavier than a simple broken arm. Let's talk a little bit about Blaze Leto, Go Hero, and pediatric trauma. This all started with a Father's Day weekend accident. Tell us the story.
Gosh, yeah, what a tragedy and a tough thing to talk about, but truly a go hero. Blaze was in a boating accident on a river nearby. He was in the water. There was an oncoming boat, a party barge, and the running propeller impacted both of his feet, causing severe injury to several structures in both of his feet. And so he presented emergently by AirMed helicopter to our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital Trauma Center. A tourniquet was placed on the leg to control bleeding initially, and then we managed his care from there.
Managed his care from there. I believe you're referring to a 6-hour-long surgery.
Yeah, so, the first thing we do is take care of any life or limb-threatening injuries first, and, his leg injuries were potentially limb-threatening at the time, and so he was taken immediately to our operating room and placed under anesthesia to manage these injuries. And, for 4 to 6 hours, what on earth could you be doing? Well, the first priority is to get control of the bleeding, and, thankfully only one main blood vessel in the foot was damaged and the other was okay. Mm-hmm. So we were thankful that he was going to have blood flow to both feet. And then secondly, you have to get everything clean. You can imagine, river water is not clean, and it contaminates everything that's damaged. So we have to thoroughly rinse everything to decrease risk of infection. And then finally, kind of putting all the damaged structures, repairing them back together, putting them back in place, and that starts from the toes and working up towards the foot and ankle. And that includes tendons that control the toes and ankle movement. It includes bones in the middle and lower part of the foot and realignment of all the joints out of place, and then using metal implants to hold them all realigned. So he endured that day and came out of it strong.
Unbelievable stuff. We're talking with Dr. Brad Culotta from Our Lady of the Lake, talking a little pediatric trauma today. All right, Dr. Culotta, at what point, okay, when you're called in on this, there's no way you can know what you're walking into here. What was your immediate, processing? How did you process this and get to work?
Well, I think just as part of our training, and trauma training, you initially make sure that, and we have a whole trauma team. It's not just me, but, making sure that life comes first and then limb, and, and then from a limb standpoint, any mangled extremity we manage kind of like a ABCD. So, first step is get control of the bleeding and then get everything clean and then start putting things back together. And sometimes it's multiple stages, multiple surgeries and such. And, unfortunately, every summer we do see boating propeller accidents, and they can be really challenging to manage.
We'll get back to Blaze in just a minute, but that brings us around to trauma, what trauma is, and how Our Lady of the Lake is viewed here. Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital, Level 2 trauma hospital. What does that mean?
Well, leveling of trauma centers is it's a nationally recognized standard by our governing body of trauma care. So, when we say we're a Level 2 center, it means we've proven the ability to initiate definitive care for all injured children. So it basically describes our commitment, our readiness to care for critically injured, and that we've dedicated the necessary resources to help that injured child. And then, our ongoing performance is evaluated to prove that we'll continue to do that for future kids. And so that's important because it's, allows us to serve as a regional center for kids from all corners of the state that, might be coming in with problems that need specialized care at our trauma center.
Okay, so how do we determine what sets that apart from a common injury? I mean, I know that probably sounds basic, but if you could get into, a little bit more of the detail of what the different differentiating factors are.
Yeah, so when you say, trauma versus just a standard common injury, trauma really is an injury to the body that can threaten one or really more often several organ systems. So you think about, brain, lungs, heart, blood vessels, skin, spine, extremities. And so trauma care really involves a whole team approach with all of those specialties involved that it starts with on-field assessment, at the place of injury, followed by transport, either by ground or air, followed by the, trauma bay or emergency room, and then to the operating room, and then to the intensive care unit afterwards, and then the rehab after that. So it's kind of the comprehensive care of critically injured patient, and in our situation, in critically injured children,
Yeah. We're talking with Dr. Brad Culotta. This is Medical Monday presented by Our Lady of the Lake. Okay, so a boating accident like this, I would imagine, while unbelievably, moves up the charts of what would constitute trauma. It's rare enough. I mean, we obviously don't want any, but what are some of the more common causes of traumatic injury in pediatric patients?
Yeah, well, as an orthopedic surgeon, most common trauma-related injuries that I see are typically like ATVs, dirt bikes, golf carts, side-by-sides, car accidents, falls from heights. We see, unfortunately, some gunshot wounds in kids. And, but, the common like trampoline injury or sports injury is typically going to be what we call isolated extremity injuries, meaning doesn't really activate our trauma team care. It's just so those are the more common things I listed previously that were true trauma care.
So this is where we get into some of the specialization of what y'all do at Our Lady of the Lake Children's. That's the difference between a trauma injury for an adult versus treating a trauma injury for a child. What are some of the differentiating factors there?
Well, the main kind of salient feature that differs what I do from adult care is the presence of the growth plate. Kids have growing bones. We want those bones to keep growing uninterrupted, and many injuries will involve the growth plate. But just as from a trauma perspective, kids often thankfully have a healthy pre-injury state, and that always helps with post-injury rehab. They have quicker wound healing, sometimes faster bone healing. Some bone injuries in kids will remodel and heal better without surgery than with surgery. So there's some truth to the fountain of youth, Brian. You and I are getting older and don't heal as well, unfortunately.
I sneezed wrong and I'm down for 3 days, to be sure. Let's get back to Blaze's story real quick, if we could. How's he doing? And walk me through a little bit about that healing process for Blaze.
Well, he's definitely made an impressive and expedited recovery thus far. I mean, thankfully, he has strong determination and courage. He kind of takes a never give up attitude. And thankfully, his parents and family have been a tremendous support system throughout all of this. You really don't realize how much you use your own 2 feet until something like this happens. I mean, I challenge you to go the rest of your day today. Imagine everything you use your feet for, and imagine you weren't able to do that. It just really instantly realigns your priorities and changes your reliance on your family and support system. And so, he's a teenager, and as a teenager, you're used to gaining independence, and then all of a sudden you're completely dependent. So he is, it creates a challenge, and he has really certainly rose to meet that challenge.
I would imagine as he's in the operating room right there, Blaze's parents probably thinking the worst case scenario. But really, this has been nothing short of miraculous with, as I understand it, he was up and walking again just a few weeks later.
Well, he, at least 6 to 8 weeks before he could, put pressure on those injuries. And then it's extensive rehab, getting used to trying to walk without pain or a limp, getting your strength, your mobility, your confidence back. And, I think he's taken a good attitude of, hey, I'm not going to be, back to all of a sudden normal. It's going to be a process. And he has really worked hard through the rehab in that process, and we're proud of him.
And speaking along those lines, though, I mean, when I say up and walking again, seeing that first glimpse of being able to walk. I mean, he was obviously using a walker at that point, but when you see that break in the clouds right there, what does that do to the patient as far as morale is concerned and just generating the want to within?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, what makes it all worthwhile is, the first day he and I meet, he's, got, you can imagine all the gear. He's got a wheelchair, he's got splints, he's got metal pins coming out the leg after surgery, and everything's wrapped up after all said and done. And, our last visit that I saw him, he comes walking into the clinic and we give a hug and a handshake and look eye to eye like, wow, we've come a long way, and that's what makes it all worthwhile to me. And I think for him, seeing him have that hint of independence again is really nice.
No, absolutely it is. And I think every parent can relate on that front, just because it just, when everything comes crashing down on the front end, to start to see things being rebuilt is, and like I said, nothing short of miraculous. We got Dr. Brad Culotta for just another couple minutes here. Dr. Culotta, you mentioned the word team a couple times throughout here, whether you're talking about that initial operation or all the way through the physical therapy process and the regrowth process and getting Blaze back on his feet, literally and figuratively. How important is team over there at Our Lady of the Lake? Because I feel like y'all lean on that term a lot.
Well, honestly, it's paramount importance. It wouldn't happen without the team, and everybody contributes an integral role. And I think the main commonality we all share is that we're passionate about kids. We're passionate about getting them back to doing what they enjoy. And we have an entire environment surrounding the child at Children's that's geared towards that, from, including the family, from the very initial management all the way to discharge. And I'm really proud of the team, and I think it's something that I'm certainly grateful to be part of. And I think if you talk to any of them, they'll speak passionately about their role in the trauma team.
You mentioned early on Blaze being a go hero. What's a go hero?
Well, it's somebody that we feel at the Children's Hospital is truly a hero for what they've overcome, given what life, dealt them. And I was at the LSU Oklahoma game this past weekend, and I saw Blaze come on the field as the go hero and be announced in front of 90, 100,000 people. And I bet that was pretty special for he and his family. And it was special for me to see for sure.
Very, very cool stuff. He is Dr. Brad Culotta. Oh, where can folks go if they want to learn more?
Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital website, it's ololchildrens.org. We have details about our trauma care there, and come check us out.
He is Dr. Brad Culotta. We appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Hope your Thanksgiving was wonderful and you're off to a great holiday season.
Same to you guys. Have a great day.
You too. Dr. Brad Culotta. Yep. When young Kerrigan tripped and fell on the Our Lady of Mercy schoolyard, he was the one that patched her up. Not nearly the challenge it took to patch up Blaze Lato. 6 hours worth of surgery. And the kid was using a walker, but 6 weeks later was on the road to recovery. It's just kind of cool to see miracles happen in our own backyard, for sure. All right, we've got to take a break here. We got ABC News coming your way. We're live on Facebook every single day, and every so often we try to share in some prizes over on our Facebook Live feed. Every day this week, all you have to do is share the Facebook Live for the day. You're entered to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Zoo Lights, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo. Zoo Lights are up and running, y'all. A 4-pack of tickets plus the Mannheim Steamroller Cinnamon Hot Chocolate. Oh, yeah, it's that time. The Mannheim Steamroller Hot Chocolate is back. Here's news. All right. Renee is in the mix. Galen says, my nephew's a trauma surgeon. He's an interesting guest at parties with visual aids to boot. Oh? Oh, God, I hope you're not talking about, like, pictures of mangled limbs. Oh.
I thought maybe just being descriptive with your job.
Byron, you know what? Okay. I just realized it's been an hour and a half and I haven't made a bad dad joke. As such, Biden will now go down as the only president to pardon 2 turkeys in the same year. You're not going to believe this, Byron, but I was mulling over the proper wording of pardoning the turkey joke the whole way into work this morning. All right, y'all, I got to hop out because I've got notes on my phone, so I'm not going to be in for this segment. I have no idea what he was talking about there. It's such a disjointed, like, yeah. Yeah. No, same, but like, I could not tell you what that was about. Natural gas, something. Foster Campbell doesn't like it. That's what I got. Chilly start to your Monday morning. How long can we keep these cooler temperatures around? Well, hopefully all winter, right? Here's the McCade Cowan. Oh, how about that fake laugh? .737 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Every Monday at this time, we welcome in the president and CEO of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. That would be Mr. Will Green. Will, how are you, man?
Brian, I'm doing well, man. I'm just recovering from a lot of food and fellowship these past few days, man. I hope you are as well.
It's an amazing couple days. Yes, absolutely in recovery mode, to be sure. As a great Thanksgiving weekend. And then, culminating with the Tigers pulling out a big one on Saturday evening. We'll skip right past Sunday's debacle for the Saints. But other than that, pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, now we got some nice weather rolling in. Feels a little bit like Christmas season.
It does. It does. When it starts to cool down. Seasonably appropriate, I like to call it. I don't mind the cold when it's supposed to be cold. So.
Yeah, I hear you. Me too.
So we're more than a week removed now from the special session on tax reform. When you and I spoke last week, we broke down a number of the positives, what lobbyists saw as takeaways from that session. I'm ready to start talking about what's next, though, Will. I have Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple on once a month, and I'm to the point convinced where we need to pick insurance back up again. It's time for this to be back, on the front burner.
Yeah, look, I think he would agree with you. I think legislative leadership that has been meeting since the end of the 2024 regular session would agree with you, and I think the citizens of Louisiana would agree with you. We've talked about it before, Brian, that the last several polls that have been conducted asking the citizens of Louisiana what is the most important issue that they consider before them, they rank insurance, the insurance crisis, number one, hands down is the number one issue that they think that the legislature needs to address. And that's because right now, if you drive an automobile in Louisiana, you pay the highest cost for your insurance than any other state in the country. And then for property insurance, we are about double the median state for property insurance. And so for property insurance, I do think that this past session, thanks to the commissioner and legislative leadership and a lot of the efforts of us and our coalition, we went out and we asked, the insurance carriers, why are you not writing here? What are things that are giving you pause? And they pointed to a few things like use and file. They pointed to things like the fortified root program. They pointed to things like our bad faith claims process and as ways in which or policies in which we were an outlier. And so we went in and we addressed those things, and we're no longer an outlier in those areas. But on the casualty side, on the auto side, I think we did address things like direct action, and we looked at a couple of other measures and where we an outlier, but we've still got a lot of work left to do.
Let's talk about what work is left to do. And yeah, on the property insurance front, while price-wise we aren't where we should be, we've definitely gotten the ball rolling. And that's one of the things that the insurance commissioner should be bragging on, is the fact that insurers are seeing the work that's being done on that front, and they will be responding. It takes time for it to actually hit the market. Meanwhile, on the automotive side, we're not that far down the road yet. So what needs to be one of the things that I found as we've been talking about this as an ongoing topic is continually getting more specific in the targets is helping on the insurance front. You'll remember a couple of years ago where everyone tried to tackle quote unquote tort reform, but that was such a vague topic that I don't think anything got done. within the state, anything of, real teeth or whatever. But the more we're able to clarify what the target is, the more we're able to go after something attainable.
Yeah, so I mean, I think one of the things that the legislature is looking to do right now, and that we're working with them on, is trying to figure out. And you're right. I mean, what is tort reform, right? I mean, what does that mean? And one of the things that I think, Brian, you and I've talked about this before, is that we've got to really define that, right? And we don't really need to reinvent the wheel, right? I mean, we can go and look at other states to see, what are they doing, and what policies have they enacted that we have not? Where are we an outlier? What laws do we have on our books that make us unattractive to carriers to come in and write? Where can we balance the scales in our civil justice system to make our legal climate more fair, more predictable, and more transparent? Right. And states like Florida that look a lot like Louisiana, they're similarly situated. They're on the Gulf of Mexico. They have similar challenges with hurricanes and winds and flooding. They went in 2022 and 2023 and aggressively looked at ways that they could enact historic legal reforms to increase transparency in their lawsuit damages, and tackled billboard lawyer windfalls and unfair divisions of liability. And I can tell you there's already early signs there that the reforms are working. Insurance carriers are expanding their business in Florida, and homeowners rates are stabilizing or decreasing according to a lot of reports. And so, we can go and look and see what did Florida do? I mean, are there policies in Florida that was enacted in 2022 and 23 that we can go and we can copy and paste over here to bring those same carriers back to our market?
Do we know the answer to those questions yet?
Yeah, so I mean, that's what the legislator's looking at. I mean, they've brought in experts, insurance experts, carriers. They've brought in, commissioners from those. I know Tim Temple's talking to the insurance commissioner of Florida and other states to try to say, what are fair measures that we can enact here to bring more carriers back to the market, because that's ultimately what we're trying to do, Brian. We're trying to bring some balance and some certainty and predictability that'll bring carriers back to the market, because we know that there's nothing that we can do that overnight is going to decrease rates, right? I mean, but we do know that we can enact policies here that make us a more attractive state for carriers to come in and write. And when you have more carriers, you have more competition, and competition is what helps reduce rates.
Talk with Will Green, President CEO of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Will, let's talk on that front, because the cost to Louisianans, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce did a report that I'm only halfway through digging into, but when it comes to the cost per household, we're in the top 5 in the nation for getting hit the worst.
Yeah, so Louisiana, if you look at our population, we're the 25th most populous state as of, and these numbers, the numbers that they have, are as of 2022. Those are the most up-to-date numbers that the Institute for Legal Reform can get. And so as of 2022, we were the 25th most populous state with just over 4.5 million residents. But we were the 11th per household in our tort cost. And so even though we're about the middle in population on our state, we're close to the top 10 in most expensive state for tort cost. And so, again, those numbers just don't stack up. We're an outlier when it comes to this. And per household, we're over $4,000 per household when you add up all the added costs. And so, Brian, we just left the tax special session, but when you add in that tort tax, that's really the tax we should be talking about.
And this is a number that is, I mean, like you said, by looking at states that do it cleaner than we do it more efficiently than we do, this is a number that can go down because per that same study, 2.7% of Louisiana's GDP is spent on tort costs.
Yeah, so right now it's about 2.65% of our state's GDP is made up by tort cost. It's pretty astounding when you look at that. And we're about, if you compare our state's GDP and you break it down like that, we're about the third highest cost state right now in the country.
Oh, goodness gracious. But I mean, think about what we could be talking about here if the state's GDP was back into the pockets of the state's residents. I mean, we're talking what, a $7.75 billion a year industry.
Yeah. So I mean, it really is a crippling cost, to our citizens of Louisiana, and it really does affect. One of the things we talked about in this tax special session is we want to bring business here. We want to attract and retain more talent here. But one of the things that is absolutely affecting that is when we go out and we try to attract business here, and we try to attract talent here. One of the things that is absolutely factored in is insurance costs. And when you look and you compare our insurance costs to other states, where it's a general liability cost for a business or whether it's a family looking to move here, it absolutely factors in.
Because at the end of the day, when we're talking about lowering income tax for personal or corporate, when we talk about getting rid of the franchise tax, this is really about lowering the cost of doing business for a business to relocate here. But honestly, this should be about, it doesn't matter where they're getting hit. It's about making sure businesses are getting hit less hard and less often.
Well, we're talking about lowering the cost of doing business here, but also we're talking about making it a more predictable, fairer place to do business here. And we're also talking about lowering the cost of living here as a citizen of Louisiana. I mean, if you're an individual thinking about, all right, I've got a comparable job offer in Louisiana or in, a state like Texas, and I'm looking to move, and I'm comparing the two offers, and I've got auto insurance in Texas that I pay versus Louisiana, and it's double in Louisiana than it is in Texas, and the job offers the same amount of money. Well, then I'm probably going to go to Texas, and those are things that that factor in that citizens face here in Louisiana every day. And so not only is it affecting business, it's affecting the citizens' decisions on coming here as well. And so these are things that we're discussing every day with legislative leadership, and I know the commissioner's trying to tackle and address, and we commend him for that. And again, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, these are things that states like West Virginia's been working on for years. They've reduced their overall tort costs by 20% over the last 10 years. Florida has done it. Texas has done it. They're not things that we look at, 1 year and sort of drop. They're things that we need to continue to look at year after year. And I know legislative leadership, and we are looking at doing that right now.
So is there a want, or is there a taste to start off 2025 with a special session on this? I mean, it's a big ask coming off of a year where you got 3 special sessions on top of a regular session.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, look, I certainly think there's an appetite for it. I think the citizens are tired of paying the highest cost insurance rates in the country. I think that there's work being done at the Capitol to try to establish some priorities that everyone can coalesce around and can agree that will help, bring some carriers back to the market and help bring some relief. And so I think if we can identify those priorities, figure out where we're an outlier, coalesce around a package of bills, I don't see why we couldn't come in and get some things done in a special session. Certainly, I'd love to see that sooner rather than later. But if not, we'll bring that package in the regular session next year.
Yeah, and my worry there is it's going to be limited because it's a fiscal session. That's where we're going to call it for today, though. He is Will Green, President and CEO of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Fantastic segment, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. I enjoyed the hell out of that. I enjoyed that conversation. It's 0-2. It's a 1-minute spot. See, Galen, that's what he was talking about with Florida. That's what Will was talking about with Florida. Thing is, if you look at the numbers, Florida's comparable in numbers while double the population. So, oh. $7:55 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Thanks again to Will Green from LABI for hopping on board. Great segment right there, like a call to action for the legislature, really, when it comes to the level of priority they should have over insurance. Good stuff from Will. Coming up next hour, we're going to talk about everything under the sun with Moon. Moon Griffon will join us at 8:15, and we're going to visit with David St. Romain as well. He's got a New Year's Eve party that goes to a great cause called the Revelry Ball. We'll hop on. We'll have him hop on the hotline before we're all said and done at 8:35. Before we get into our next topic, got to remind you about the folks over at Vex European. No secret, last week was a huge travel week. What were they? AAA expected close to 80 million people on the roads or traveling over the course of the weekend. So let me ask you this: number one, do you drive a European vehicle? Number two, when you got out on the road, did you notice everything wasn't as optimal as you might like it? As the weather gets colder, your car might have the squeaks and creaks that start to come out around this time. Vex European is your answer. If you drive a Mercedes, a Land Rover, a BMW, if you drive a Jaguar, if you drive a Range Rover. In fact, if you go to vexeuropean.com, hit the little drop-down tab where it says vehicles, they've got the full list right there. Exotics, they do that as well. But when you've made that investment in a European vehicle, you want to make sure you're getting the most out of it. That's where Vex European comes into play. And I'm not just talking about major engine repair. I'm talking about the everyday service as well. Everything from an oil change to a squeaky belt, you name it. Vex European has got you covered. VEX, Vex European. Get yourself a little Vexpertise and a little same day or next day service. Just hop on VexEuropean.com. So Friday was Black Friday, and you've been hearing in our news about how we have the shortest shopping period possible before Christmas Day. I mean, when the 1st of November is on a Friday, which means that's the absolute latest Thanksgiving Day can be, is the 28th. LSU marketing professor Dan Rice spoke with our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network, saying because of that, a lot of retailers started their Black Friday deals early this year.
They're getting into that idea of the shopping season's coming up. We're going to give you these ideas early. And if you don't get those, you'll get some next week.
And with the shortened shopping season, shoppers have to adjust their behavior as well.
People realizing that if they don't get the purchase now, then they may not have time to go back for it. So things like end aisle displays and displays in the checkout lanes may have more impact than they otherwise would have, because people have this fear that if they don't pick it up now, they may lose out on the deal or they may not be able to get back.
Which, by the way, with the shortened season, also driving shoppers to the online route to save some time.
If they can do shopping in a number of different online spaces as opposed to physically going store to store, that may save time and allow them to be more efficient with their purchasing power.
Because today is officially Cyber Monday, right? It's Cyber Monday, which I'm about over the post-Thanksgiving terms. The Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, I'm all about throwing those three out. Giving Tuesday, I'm still a big supporter of. But the Black Friday, if they're offering deals on Black Friday well before Black Friday, what the hell's the point of Black Friday? It has lost its luster, to be sure. Small Business Saturday, man, that should be every week. Every day should be Small Business Saturday. The local mom and pop, your neighbors, they should be top of mind every day. So Small Business Saturday, yeah, it's cute little title, but that should be the way it is. And I think the one we really need to throw out, just throw it away. It was a flash in the pan. It was a fad. Cyber Monday. I mean, if Cyber Monday still needed to happen, Amazon wouldn't be the monolith that it is. There's Amazon packages out there on your porch every single day. We don't have to call it a day. The Cyber Monday is literally every day. Hour 3 is next. Here comes news. Oh, do. Cool. Yep, pretty sure it's a one-time incident. I mean, if he's dead, he's not going to do it again. Pretty sure. .806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing, getting you ready for a busy third hour. Of course, we're going to have This Day in History coming up in just a second. On the docket for this hour, we've got Moon Griffon at 8:15 this morning. We've got David St. Romain coming up at 8:35, actually closer to 8:40. David's got a New Year's Eve party that it's for a fantastic cause, first and foremost. Secondly, it sounds like it's going to be a blast. It's called the Revelry Ball. We'll get with David coming up at 8:40 to talk about that. All right, third hour starts with This Day in History. Let's do it.
All right.
All righty. We got a lot. There's a lot. Well, there's a couple
Yeah.
things that I definitely want to touch
That
on
you
today.
wanna
Go ahead.
Make note of.
Yeah.
Just in time for Christmas here. 1867.
Ooh.
In a New York City theater, British author Charles Dickens gives his first public reading in the United States. Of course, his A Christmas Carol has been a lasting impact on Christmas, right?
All right. Dickens did that himself, huh?
Yeah.
Came over.
Yeah.
All right.
Give a little reading.
Hey, can we rewind it back a little bit further?
Oh, wow.
How about
Okay.
1804?
Okay.
On this day in 1804, Napoleon crowned himself Emperor of France.
Crowned himself. I love it.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like it'd be like you crowning yourself like King of Radio.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
yeah.
King of Producers right here.
Yeah. Why not?
Just like,
you
why
can't
not?
name. Well, who else is going to name you Emperor? Right. When you're shooting for Emperor, you pretty much have to have that level of megalomania.
Oh,
but like, do you think he did it like a lead up, a whole build up to it? You know?
Yeah.
All right, let's find out who the next emperor is going to be. Envelope, please.
Yeah. Oh, would you look at that?
Oh, it's me.
It's me.
Son of a gun.
The votes were unanimous.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew? I wonder if that made the movie. I don't know. I missed out on it. Joaquin Phoenix is.
Oh, he was Napoleon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It flew under the radar though. See, because you were even like, oh, he was Napoleon. Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a movie.
Right. I know. I don't think it got publicized as much as it should have. Anyway, let's see. Look at this. 1984, Miami quarterback Dan Marino breaks NFL single season touchdown pass record when he throws his 37th in the Dolphins' 45-34 loss to the Raiders.
Wait, what year was this?
1984.
All right.
Finishes the season with 48.
Man, can I rewind the clock again?
Let's do it.
1823.
Okay.
The Monroe
today.
Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine
yeah.
was enacted today, which declared that the U.S. would not interfere in European affairs, but its sphere of interest included the entire Western Hemisphere. President James Monroe put this out on this day in 1823. That would not even last a full century there.
No.
Because, World War I.
Yeah.
We kind of got involved in European affairs there.
Yeah.
And then we did it again, and what was that called? World War II.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of stuck our nose in on both of those.
Oh,
Monroe
man.
Doctrine.
I've got nothing but you have like some informative stuff. I've got like, hey, Naked Gun came out in 1988 today.
I tell you what, that is way more pivotal to America than on this day in 1942, scientists led by Enrico Fermi conducted the world's first controlled self-sustaining nuclear chain reaction.
Okay.
Yeah. Nuclear
Kind of a big
chain
deal.
reaction, Lieutenant Frank Drebin. We're somewhere on the sphere there.
2 years later, 1990 here. First time 12 people in space at the same time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
According to this here. 2014, Bill Cosby resigns from the board of trustees of an American university following the renewed sexual assault allegations.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Stepping down, of course, from that. That same year, Stephen Hawking warned, he claimed that artificial intelligence could be a threat to mankind and spell the end of the human race.
He was artificial intelligence, though.
He was.
I still believe he's in every Alexa around. As smart as that guy was, he could never refine his voice. That's amazing.
Right.
You know what? On this day in 1983, the video for Thriller came out.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole mini whatever
The mini
movie I guess
music
you would
video.
call it. Yeah, with the boyfriend and girlfriend walking with the Letterman's jacket, he turns into the werewolf. Yeah. The whole thing in 1983.
Okay. Nice. Odd that it would be right after Halloween, right?
But not even right after. It wasn't a Halloween thing.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You know, it was another song. Did you see that where it was actually another song, but then he changed the lyrics and it became Thriller?
I did not see
really,
that.
Yeah, really cool stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks to Quincy Jones. I think he had lyrics to it, and the song was, I don't know. Anyway, we could spend all day on that.
That is pretty cool, though.
Let's see. 2020 here, U.S. Attorney General William Barr says there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud in the 2020 presidential election, despite claims by President Donald Trump.
How's that aging?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Anything else on this day?
No, we got birthdays. We got a ton of
We do
birthdays.
have birthdays. Starting off with Britney Spears today.
Oh, yep.
Charlie Puth. Aaron Rodgers today as well.
How is Britney Spears only 2 years older than Aaron Rodgers?
I'm looking at that. I see that.
Britney Spears was born on this day in 1981. Aaron Rodgers in 1983.
I'm seeing that. Yeah, Nelly Furtado today. We were talking about her last week. Where she's been. Yeah. Nelly Furtado. Lucy Liu today as well.
Okay.
Let's see. Who else we got here? TikTok stars. It's just so funny. It's so funny. I know I'm not going to name anyone, but it's just a plethora of them.
But there's only like 3 that I care about.
Right.
There's only 3 that I care about.
It's so funny.
The Bama fan guy, Justin Danger Nunley.
Yep.
Yeah, he would be on the list, and I'd probably have to look up scroll through my TikTok to find the other 2.
But it's so funny when it comes to celebrity birthdays. These TikTok stars just.
Dude, did you know Justin Nunley was in town for the Bama game?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh.
Yeah, he posted up after it was over with, and I hated that we got beat that badly just because he was here for it. Gianni Versace was born on this day in 1946.
Moving on to deaths today. Marty Feldman, 1982.
Oh, wow. Okay, Marty Feldman from
Young Frankenstein.
Yep. Frankenstein. Yep. Who
All
else you
eyes,
got?
Man. Let's see. Is there any?
Yeah.
Who do you have?
I have Spanish conquistador Hernan Cortez, died on this day in 1547. I have the Marquis de Sade, died on this day in 1814. I have, come on, there's more. Oh, I know I had one more. No, I'm not even seeing it on my list. No, that's all I got. Those two were the big 2.
And of course, national days today. Cyber Monday, which we talked about. What about National Bartender Day? Bartender Appreciation Day as well.
I have the last one. I have the last one died on this day. Okay.
Okay.
Died on this day in 1594. Gerardus Mercator. Care to guess who he is?
No.
No? Gerardus Mercator was a Flemish cartographer. The modern map of the world that we look at is known as the Mercator projection. He's the one that gave us our map. The guy that gave us our map of the world died today.
And what year was that?
1594.
1594. Wow.
Since 1594, we've been sitting on that same map. Nobody's adjusted anything.
Nothing's ever changed?
Nope.
Ever?
No. Crazy. Mercator projection died today. It's 8:14 to Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We are due up for a quick break. Do I dare ask Moon Griffon about the Biden pardon? I mean, I almost can't not, right?
Oh, you have to.
It's like I feel like not only should I ask him, but I should dip it in queso. That's how good this is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Moon's up next.
Dip it in queso. Really kind of rub salt in the wound.
Say again?
Rub salt in the wound. Hello, good morning, Moon. John here with Brian. Doing well, sir. How about yourself? All right. Well, look, we'll have you up here in about 2 minutes or so. All right. Thank you.
818 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Oh, every Monday we get to visit with our good buddy Moon Griffon, host of the Moon Griffon Show, which you hear statewide at 9 to 11, including right here on Talk 107.3 FM, weekdays 9 to 11. Moon, welcome back, brother.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How was your Thanksgiving?
About 5 pounds heavy, I'm good to go.
Okay. No, 5 pounds is reasonable over the course of the weekend because you have Thanksgiving and then it's not like anybody's exercising or taking it ezy on Friday. That's Thanksgiving made in a sandwich.
I can honestly say there was not much exercising, but there was a lot of eating and a lot of good times.
I bet.
It was all good. I got 4 kids and I got 2 sons and they both got the 2 grandbabies. They all boys and they were all on top of us at one time. So a lot of fun. Then you go see my mom's still living, thank God, still healthy. And I got 4 brothers and sisters and their kids. I mean, we have a good time. I remember when COVID came in 20 and they said, be careful with big holidays. Man, we got together like there was never COVID at all. We never had a problem. We had a good time. So we still having a good time.
Very good to hear. I'm kind of biding my time here because I know the question I want to ask, but it's basically, I know I'm also going to be unleashing a beast when I do. So Joe Biden said he's going to pardon his son, or is pardoning Hunter Biden. This is after repeatedly saying he wouldn't do so. What's your initial reaction?
Well, everybody knew he was lying. I mean,
right?
He did it and things of that nature. It's what you do. It's your son. Everybody knows he's in trouble. There's probably a lot more charges can come. And I don't think the Trump administration is going to even touch him, which is fine with me. I'm to the point I don't care. But it's just the lying. This guy was president for 4 years. He was in the Senate. He's been in Washington for 50 years. Everybody knows he's regressed in his mind. It just frustrates me, Brian, at the left. And I'm not a Republican either. But the left lies, constantly lies, and the media takes up for them. They act like they're surprised about this. Brian Howdy's not surprised. I'm not surprised. I found out last time my phone was blowing up. And I went on and read some of the comments and stuff, but they lied about Trump. They lie about climate change. They lie about COVID. They lie about masks. I mean, it's just one big lie coming out of that party now. And I think he exemplifies who the Democrat Party is. And I think when people vote Democrat, this is what they get. I think it's at all levels now. Not the Republicans are saints, Brian. Let me not defend them, but these Democrats and Biden them, I mean, they never tell the truth on anything. And that's the problem with it. But, it's kind of sad in a way, too, because, they said Trump was all these charges. They've been going after him, impeachments, and they never, we have a two-justice system, and Trump, they let him go. But what about this? I mean, this guy was found guilty, and they let him go. So, it's politics at its worst. How about that? And
it is
politics at its worst.
Okay, but let's break this down on a very human level, though, Moon. I mean, you're a father. I'm a father. Would you have done anything differently?
I don't know, but let's put it. Let me answer it this way. I got kids. I want my kids to be free. I get it. But we're playing at a lot higher level, Brian, and you are. That's a lot higher level. And I just I think what's going to happen now, this is my personal opinion, I don't know what Trump and Biden talked about. When Trump goes in and starts pardoning all these J6 quote offenders, I don't want to hear it from the left. I don't want to hear it at all. Because when he starts pardoning these people, when he gets in office, and he's going to do it, I don't want to hear about that, how that's not fair. Because it's coming. And I'm curious to see what the media and the left does when he pardons people and really didn't do a whole lot.
Well, and this is where Joe Biden painted himself into a corner here, is because in his response to pardoning Hunter, he said something to the effect, and I'm paraphrasing here, but something to the effect of nobody else on earth would have been prosecuted for these crimes. To which, if I'm Donald Trump, I'm like, whoa, hey, that's exactly what should have been said about me in New York.
Well, no, but I mean, Trump, and you're correct by saying that. What Trump was prosecuted on was not even a federal crime. I mean, it has nothing to do with anything. But yet he's a big guilty and all that stuff. This guy actually did some stuff and a lot more. So listen, it's all hypocrisy. It's all craziness. And everybody knew he was going to do it. So I just say when Trump does it, when he comes in with the J6 group, I don't want to hear it from anybody. I don't want to hear him crying and bickering. I wouldn't say.
100%. I will say this, though. It is a rare, rare day where I would want to buy Karine Jean-Pierre a drink.
Well, let me tell you something. I watched her for a while. She ain't answered a question yet.
Well, no, but John, do you still have the video available? Okay, yeah, I know she sidesteps questions, but Moon, listen to this audio. When asked about whether or not Joe Biden would pardon his son, I mean, give this a listen real quick. Make sure it's where he can hear it too. Okay.
But from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well, is there,
I just said no. I just answered.
The president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
And it went on like that, Moon. There's a montage video going around where it's just on and on, where she finally said something definitive. She said no, and the one definitive thing she said turns out, nope, it's going to be the opposite now.
Yeah, and by the way, they somebody that's in that position, they really out there to say whatever the president wants them to say.
Oh no, I know.
You ever notice when they move one real quick, it's probably because they answered something the president didn't want them to say. So she was out there just running rough for him. But listen, everybody's written Joe Biden off already, just the way it is. And so I don't think many people. I mean, yeah, we can get upset about it, but man, he's a lame duck as they come for another 6 weeks. So whatever he does, he's still a commander-in-chief. He's still a president for about six, maybe 7 more weeks. And no, I'm glad you played that. I'd heard her say that before. That's awesome. But because she, like you said, she never answered something, but she made sure she answered that directly.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why she sidesteps as much as she needs to, is because when you put a definitive answer out there, now you're stuck with it. So, the internet is written in ink. It comes back to haunt you.
Yeah, but the other thing is, she gets to pick the questioners in the press conference. So I'm sure she's going to be making sure she picks the right one.
You think?
You know what I mean?
No, I know totally what you mean. It's not a good day to be Peter Ducey, for sure.
Peter Ducey may as well go fishing.
I know. He could come in dressed like a banana with red flashing lights on top of his head, and he still won't get called on today.
No, they're going to spot him out no matter how he walks in. I think you're 100% right. But, it is what it is. I see more excitement that Trump won. I've seen Democrats even say this is going to be better. Bernie Sanders, with the Elon Musk and him coming in, say, hey, they're probably right and finding a bunch of waste. So there's been a new day. A new day's coming. I just pray that it comes, and when it comes, they deliver. They deliver for the American people. I think it's going to be very important.
We got about 4 minutes left with Moon Griffon, host of the Moon Griffon Show. You catch it right here and statewide, weekdays 9 to 11 on Talk 107.3 FM. Moon, for these last 3.5 minutes, I want to bring it back closer to home. Your show, I know that you spent a good chunk of the first half of last week leading up to Thanksgiving kind of unpacking that special session on tax reform the same way I did on this show. You talked to a lot more people than I did, for sure. But within those couple days leading up to Thanksgiving, Has your attitude on the tax reform session changed any?
Not really. I know Jeff's excited, and I think they ought to be. I think there was a lot of good things done, Brian. I'm not going to even argue with that, not even get. But in the big picture, I keep reading things and seeing things like we're going to have more revenue coming in next year for the state of Louisiana the way this tax is set up. It looks like to me we made sure government's going to get their fair share. And I'm not convinced on the tax cuts yet. I'm not. I'm not ugly about it. I'm not going crazy over it. But I'm not convinced that I know it was a tax cut for businesses. I feel like big businesses and things of that nature won. But for the individuals, I don't know about that yet. You know, the goal was to get from 44th or whatever it was to 8th in the top 10 by one of these tax foundations. I think we're going to get to 26. I read an article, I think it was out of the Devil's Advocate, that mentioned the fact they interviewed people from the tax foundation, and they said, "No, they got a good ways to go still." And so I'm going to sit back and watch, Ron, because I talked to some representatives from Texas and North Carolina. What they told me and explained to me that this kind of tax reform is done over the next 10 and 12 years, and you got to keep doing stuff. So if the needle's been moved, and that's what they're trying to say, what's the next movement next year? What's the next movement? What are we doing next year? What are we doing the year after that? Because if we're going to stop celebrating high five, I don't think the other states are moving too. And I don't think we'll ever catch up with them.
So the next move.
I want to know what step 2 is. That's my next question.
Step 2 is tightening of the belt. Step 2 is shrinking the state government just a little bit, just enough to where the balance sheet evens out enough to where we could take another bite out of taxes.
And I agree 100% with you. But that's the part I don't see, Brian. There were no government cuts. There were none. So if I can get mad at me if they want to, but the fact is there were no cutting of spending. And I think real tax reform cuts government spending. And if I'm wrong, then I'll be proven wrong, and I'll be happy because that means the state will be better.
No, 100%. That's where the focus has got to be on the fiscal session coming up next year. Hey,
Brian, I got a quick question for you before you let me go.
Go for it.
The mayor's race there, tight, tough, can go either way. Just a quick thought.
You know, this can go either way. Both candidates, I mean, Sid Edwards has a serious shot here, but I feel Republicans in East Baton Rouge are kind of like Charlie Brown going to kick the football. So I don't know. It'll be down to the wire for sure.
Yep. All right, Brian.
All right, you got a show coming up. Half an hour from now. Always appreciate the time, Moon.
No, Brian. God bless. Thank you, buddy.
You too. Here comes news. I'm going to have to explain that now. Charlie Brown kicking the football. I know. I know. I've used the analogy a number of times. Yeah, but unless I give it the proper context, it doesn't. Yeah. There's Mr. David St. Romain. Yeah, because that's what I need is more email reminders from retailers. Jesus. Nope. Yo. Phone. He's been sick. He was sick. He got sick on Saturday. So, yeah. Oh, shit. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right, time to get a look at that forecast. Here's what we've got going on for the week. Yes, chilly today. Our high is going to top out at just 67 degrees. We're getting back down into the 30s tonight. Overnight low of 38. Tomorrow we'll top out at 64 with an overnight low of 39. Sunny skies for both days. That changes on Wednesday, though, when we have a 90% chance of rain on Wednesday, which will have an 80% chance of rain on Thursday. Your high on Wednesday, 67. Your high on Thursday, 64. After that rain clears out, it's going to get a little bit cooler during the day, colder during the day. Friday's high just 56 degrees. Overnight lows aren't going to be as low, though, and look for more rain to roll in on the back end of the weekend. Right now, it's sunny and 46 in downtown Baton Rouge. Eight 837, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Man, we had in top stories and trending how busy the Baton Rouge Fire Department has been. And right now, I said there's over half a dozen calls between Thanksgiving night and this morning. That may have been undersold here because I'm looking at it. They've been called out to 5 different locations since yesterday at 8 p.m. Yeah, a house fire on Coursey, a house fire on South Bank, another one on Tracy, another one on South 17th Street. Just in a commercial building as well. So on Lee, they've been busy. They've been busy, and with the cold weather that comes around every single year, we see a direct correlation between the two. So, prayers for strength and stamina with our fire department, to be sure. All right, coming up on New Year's Eve will be the Revelry Ball. Joining us now to talk about this is Mr. David St. Romain. How are you, sir?
Oh, Brian, I'm doing great. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you as well. Okay, so the plan was to have you in studio this morning, but you caught the bug, huh?
Yeah, man. I'm glad I got it now while I didn't have a gig. It was good to run into a Sunday and a Monday and not a Friday and a Saturday. But hey, I'll make sure I'm all ready to go for New Year's Eve.
All right, bring everybody up to speed. Tell us what the Revelry Ball is.
So the Revelry Ball is Ascension Parish's finest New Year's Eve party. It's going to have everything you could want to have to celebrate and ring in the new year at the brand new facility out on Highway 44 and Highway 30 at the Pace Center.
Mm-hmm.
The event is called the Revelry Ball. It is, again, New Year's Eve celebration with music, myself, Chris LeBlanc, the Eddie Smith Band, Ben Ragsdale, Caitlin Renee. We're going to have photo booths. We're going to have all-you-can-eat food, all-you-can-drink, sodas and maybe a couple cocktails and all the take-home stuff and the good things. And it's going to be an incredible night, that's for sure. And it also is going to benefit a nonprofit where we serve veterans with songwriting across the state. So all of the revenue that is made on this event is going to an incredible cause where not only can you have a great time on New Year's Eve, but you can support the Louisiana veterans through Songs of Survivors.
All right, so for those that are unfamiliar, let's talk a little bit about Songs of Survivors, how it started and how it's going, as they say online.
4 years ago, I began this organization with the help of the Lieutenant Governor's office, and we created songwriting workshops where myself and other writers come together with veterans of all populations around the state of Louisiana, so all demographics. That's the aging population, the recovery population, people that are in homeless or recovery centers. And we're also beginning work in our Vets Court real soon, coming up next year. And so there's ways for us to serve veterans that are unique, and this is one of those ways. That organization is the only organization in the state of Louisiana that uses music, songwriting to help veterans share their stories, create a legacy for their family, and just share their memories of their experiences in life, good and tough, with their families as they continue. So this organization's 4 years old. We have done, this last year, we served over 100 veterans in 8 workshops across the state, from Shreveport, Bossier, Monroe, New Orleans, everywhere, all the way from one side to the other. And it's going great. We have 4 workshops already scheduled next year. We're moving forward, just trying to keep the lights on. And, in nonprofit work, we don't have a service to sell, or we don't have a product to sell. So the way that we survive and make it happen for these veterans and create this, what it is nonprofit does what the government doesn't do. And so we are doing something that the government doesn't do for our veterans. And so our goal is to create resources and ways for that to happen. That's how the Revelry Ball can do that.
We're talking with David St. Romain from Songs of Survivors and the Revelry Ball, which we'll give details on how to buy tickets for the Revelry Ball in just a little bit. But I want to stick with the songs for just a minute, David, because when you first started to apply the idea here, has this movement, has this not-for-profit gone in the way you thought it would go when it comes to not just the reception of it, but the results of it?
Actually, yes. I would say, this, when you say the way that I pictured it, Brian, I never pictured myself doing this. I was going to be on a tour bus touring the world trying to be a rock star. That was my goal. But God had a different plan for me. And around 2017, I felt the calling to serve people with music. And that's where he led me as I discerned and prayed about it and continued to just listen and execute on what he did. So my goals for this are whatever God's goals are. In all honesty, although the reception has been incredible, the response and the results from the veterans has been just amazing. And if you see or hear, and you would, if you go to the Revelry Ball on New Year's Eve, you will see testimonials, you will hear stories from those veterans and see firsthand the work that we are doing at Songs of Survivors.
Talk to me a little bit about why the work works. What are the effects on the veterans?
So, veterans, most of them don't share their stories, and they don't. They're tough. Veterans are supposed to be tough and not emotional. They're supposed to hold that emotion in. Well, at least that's the old guard. That's the old mantra. But now we have an opportunity to, in this culture today, where people are more willing to share. And so as that's happening, I'm trying to dig in harder and say, hey, this is an opportunity for you not to be with a therapist. This is just for you to be with somebody who knows how to take stories and put it into music and put it into song. And they do that for the first time ever. So many of them, I can't tell you how many of them are 100-year-old telling me, I have never told anyone this. And for that alone, that tells me we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and that we're doing something that's sacred and that really takes a legacy of their story and gives their children and their grandchildren an opportunity to know them more and to be closer to them and to carry on their legacy through that song. I even sang for a veteran's funeral, his memorial service, the song he and I wrote about his daughter. His mother called me a year later and said, I was really missing Robert. But this song, I heard it, and it really made a difference in my day and just getting through this day. So it's affecting not only the veterans, but it's also affecting their families.
Well, and there's something to be said for veterans understand veterans a lot more than, I'm not
Absolutely.
trying to downplay therapy, but therapy is only as good as those who want to dive into it. You've got to have the want to, you have to be led to water in the first place, right? And if you've walked a path in life that a lot of us haven't, you're only going to feel the most comfortable and the most understood around those who have been on that same path before. So it's the teamwork and the camaraderie of this that I've found the most fascinating along the way.
Oh, absolutely. And, a lot of these guys don't really share, like they're not going to share with their therapist, but they will share, like you said, in that camaraderie moment. Mm-hmm. They will share because they're with their fellow veteran who, in these nursing homes, these veterans are living together in these separate quarters, and they don't really even know each other.
Right.
We had a group in Jennings tell us, at the LDVA home in Jennings, man, I didn't know that about you. Most of the time, we don't find out about these people until after they're wheeled out of here. And so it's it's a moment that's a unique opportunity. There are other veteran organizations here in the state that do bring veterans together. And I know some great therapists here that are veterans that do know how to work with veterans really great. But this is a very unique and special opportunity for the veterans to be able to share their stories through music. I mean, it's something, most of the time they walk in there like, we don't have a freaking clue what we're about to do, kind of nervous a little bit. And then they come out of there most of the time and we're hugging and, come back and play some more music. And so normally, I give them a little love and play them a song here and there, but it's really a great opportunity for them that they may never get again.
And that's the part about the question I was asking about how's it going and did you expect it to go this way, is that level of sharing, that level of opening up, that level of, if we're being honest, that level of healing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's a very vulnerable place that they go to because, I open up with my story, my personal story. I'm a veteran myself in Louisiana Army National Guard. I'm also a trauma survivor that a lot of people didn't know about for a long time until the last few years. And part of this work has been healing for me because I share my story in every workshop. And then I mean deep. I go deep with my stories. So that way they know that level of vulnerability can be reached. And we do. We reach it over and over and over again. And it's like someone who works for DCFS, when they hear these terrible stories about these kids over and over again, they got to go home at night. But I can't tell you the amount of fulfillment that I feel when I leave the workshop. And I feel like I've taken in all their trauma and their struggle, and it just comes right out with the music. It just comes right out with the music. And it's like, I don't hold it. Here it is. I transfer that trauma with them. We transfer that trauma from their stories and my story, and we place it into that song. And now the trauma carries on with the song. And it's healed in a unique way.
So New Year's Eve at the Price LeBlanc Pace Center out there in Gonzales. Where do folks need to go to buy their tickets?
They go to revelryball.com. That's revelryball.com. Not the Revelry Ball, but revelryball.com.
Revelryball.com.
Yeah, and if you go to sosmusic.com, .org, you'll see that also. It'll be on there on our website on Songs of Survivors, but revelryball.com.
He is David St. Romain. We always appreciate the time, brother.
Man, Brian, I can't thank you. And I do want to say Guarantee Broadcasting is a big sponsor, Ascension Tourism. God bless you guys and everybody who has come on board with us to help us make this happen.
Let's pack this night. Formal attire required. Doors will open at 7. Revelryball.com on New Year's Eve. Talk to you soon, David.
All right, Brian. Bye-bye.
Bye. Coming up on 850 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We got to step outside of East Baton Rouge Parish for the outside in. Next, after Your Money Now. Chase that call, am I right? Okay. That's her. Okay, y'all. Hey, I'm going to need the air check. I'm going to do this promo again, and I'm going to need the air check of it. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. .856 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Going to get you to Moon Griffon here. About 10 minutes from right now. You got Moon from 9 to 11. Hey, before we get into the outside in, want to remind you all week long we're giving away tickets to Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo Lights. And coupled with that, I love this partnership. Every year we offer giveaways for Mannheim Steamrollers hot chocolate. Yes, nothing spells out the Christmas season like Mannheim Steamroller. Their music always comes to the forefront for sure. Well, it's not really a secret anymore. They've got this killer hot chocolate, a little cinnamon flavor to it. It's not just the chocolatey flavor, it's a cinnamon hot chocolate. And we team up with them every year. So this year, every day this week, we are giving away a box of the hot chocolate along with a 4-pack of tickets to Zoo Lights. All you have to do is share the Facebook Live, and you were entered to win. If you don't win today, you can win tomorrow. If you don't win tomorrow, you can win Wednesday. It's all week long. And by the way, for those that have not yet tried the cinnamon hot chocolate, for those that know, you already know. But just share today's Facebook Live, and you are entered to win. Also, before we get you to this day in history, got to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. If you're in charge of food for your company's Christmas party, you need Matherns.com. Yes, Thanksgiving is in the past. No, the catering's not done. Whatever it is you need for your company's Christmas party, they've got you covered at Matherns.com. The online catering menus are available. You can actually print out and fill out the form right there from the website. Whether you're talking about a couple sandwich trays, some chicken finger trays, or want to knock out the whole menu, they've got you covered at Matherns.com. And don't forget, if you don't have the Matherns Rewards app, you're losing money every time you shop. You'll be earning cash towards more groceries every time you shop with the Matherns app. The app is good for both locations, downtown on 3rd Street or in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. It's Matherns. All right, time for the outside in. Let's roll. Let's start off in Ascension Parish today. State troopers are investigating the death of an Ascension Parish jail inmate. Jail records indicate Darvin Dwayne Mumphrey died in the jail on Sunday. The inmate details say that Mumphrey was booked shortly after 2 a.m. for domestic abuse battery and resisting an officer that happened Saturday morning. Paperwork said he was released at 3:53 p.m. Sunday, but death of offender is written on his booking history. State police are investigating. Keeping it in Ascension Parish, Highway 44 between Edenbourne Parkway and Highway 30 is going to be dropped down to one lane in both directions starting this morning. Department of Transportation and Development said one lane will still be open, so detours are not necessary. Crews will be patching the concrete, paving the road, and removing guardrails. Both lanes are set to reopen they're set to be open on February 3rd of next year is when they'll be at their full working order. And then let's stop off in New Orleans before we get out of here. 4 people were wounded in a shooting on Canal Street at the edge of the French Quarter early Sunday morning, roughly 6 hours after another person was wounded on that same street a few blocks away, according to an OPD. Police were called to the 700 block of Canal shortly before 2:30 a.m. when they found 4 victims wounded by gunfire. Paramedics transported the victims to a hospital. By the way, police said the shooting followed 5 others reported across the city on Saturday. That's it for us. Moon Griffon is next. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, guys. I have got to get out of here. Yeah, share the post. Get yourself in the running. The hot chocolate's awesome. We'll see you tomorrow.